I'm going to talk about a best friend of mine. I've known her since I was in high school, so that's about 12 years worth, and we moved away. We started our families and we had got married, had children. And I realized that things could have been different if she had more knowledge on this topic, which is, I know some of you guys might not have families and might not know much about this topic, but you might have friends that you might run into that might need this help on this scenario. When she had her second daughter, she already knew that she wasn't going to breastfeed, and she didn't breastfeed her first son, so she breastfed her, or didn't breastfeed her daughter. She formula fed, and run into this situation where, when she was about a month old, she was having a lot of stomach issues, and turned out that she was lactose intolerant, and she had to buy soy formula. And she told me in a conversation that if she had support, or she had people that educated her beforehand, she probably would have tried harder nursing, because everything with her daughter would have been a lot easier. I'm going to talk with you guys the different things about breastfeeding when it comes to the expense, how the convenience of it, and the different health benefits you can get from a breastfeeding. First thing is the expense. It's free. I mean, it's free and you don't have to worry about costs. My friend, Ashley, the trouble she ran into is switching from the regular formula to the soy formula was a big expense to her. According to the American Pregnancy Association, they say that formula can cost anywhere between $54 to $198 a month. That's what she was spending, was the $189 approximately, because she had to get that soy formula. Also, if you breastfeed your child, they're less likely to need the excessive amount of medical expenses. I mean, I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but their chances of them getting sick as an infant is not as high. From the Natural Resource Defense Council, they said that a formula-fed baby, within the first 6 months, their medical expense can get up to $66,000. Now, for a breastfed baby, you can run into $4,000 for medical expense. I know from my experience with my children, I rarely had to take them to a doctor when they're younger, especially infant age. It wasn't until they got into preschool age. I mean, I was a stay-at-home mom, so they didn't get exposure much, and that's when I really ran into it. But beforehand, it was just nice because I didn't have to worry about taking the doctor often. Next we have is the convenience of breastfeeding. There's a bunch of different key points you need to think about. It's the fact that you never run out. It's always there, it's handy. You don't sit there and make some or open up and realize I don't have enough to make a bottle. You have to take off and run. It's just like whenever you run out of milk at home and you have to run off to the store and get it. Breast milk, obviously, it never runs out. It's always ready. In the middle of the night, you don't have to get up, stumble down the stairs, try to get the bottle fixed, and make sure there's bottles and nipples cleaned, and make sure you don't have to sterilize or boil and all that. And it's perfect temperature. And like I said, go back to it again, it's ready. One of my favorite things, I love sleep, and that was one of my favorite things. I mean, whenever I would get my son, when he was in the bassinet, it was just nice. I could lay down and I could still kind of rest as he nursed. And it was just nice. It was nice and convenient. Kids Health quote says, breast milk is always fresh. I mean, think about it. If you get an apple from a garden, it's always nice and fresh. That's what the comparison would be. Next, this is a big part of breastfeeding, and you hear a lot about it, and that's the health benefits. It's easily digested. Breast milk does not contain as much of chemicals in it, so it's easily digested. For example, my friend Ashley, she had to get something different so it'd be easier for her daughter. because she couldn't digest it well, and which is why she had to go to soy milk, because the milk in the formula, the regular formula, has the vitamins and nutrients that cow's milk has, which is too hard on children and on babies, infants before the age of a year. So that's why she ran into the lactose intolerant issue and why she had to go to soy milk. Also, and it's an infection. It fights infections. It has antibodies, so it lowers the chances. Like I said earlier, doesn't mean they won't go to the doctor. There's still a chance they might, but it lowers the chances of ear infection, diarrhea, respiratory infections, and meningitis. It also protects children for the future. Breastfed babies tend to less likely to have asthma, allergies, juvenile diabetes and diabetes, and obesity and infant death syndrome. Other health benefits is also from the nrdc.org. They list more future diseases like MS, multiple sclerosis, and heart disease and cancer. Then there's also benefits, lots of benefits for the mother. Some of the benefits is it helps them recover from childbirth faster. The nursing or breastfeeding, during your breastfeeding, it releases a hormone called oxytocin, and this is released during breastfeeding, which is what helps the uterus contract back to the size it was before childbirth, and it helps you get back to normal size. It also, breastfeeding reduces the risk for the mother from having breast cancer or ovarian cancer, even type 2 diabetes, and you can see that the healthychildren.org highly suggests this because of the chance of cancer. Just keep in mind that breastfeeding in the U.S. is not that known or exposed that much yet. In the U.S., we have the least amount of children that are breastfed, but have the most amount of children that die of infant death. In 2003, a study showed that 71% of parents tried breastfeeding and only 36% continued breastfeeding at the age of 6 months. While in Sweden, 98% of the children were breastfed at birth, and at 72% they were still breastfeeding their children at 6 months. So there's lots of struggles, and I want you guys to just keep in mind to realize that for me personally, if it wasn't my support system I had near me, I wouldn't have done it. It's hard, it's tough. So if you're out there and you see someone breastfeeding, your family member or future wife or yourself, just make sure you have that support system, because my friend said if she had a support system like me, she would have breastfed. Because remember, there's tons of benefits when it comes to breastfeeding. There's the expense, the convenience, and health